This is Behind the Headlines, with behind-the-scenes analysis on issues affecting Pennsylvanians, sponsored by the Susquehanna Valley Center for Public Policy. Now, here's your host.
Welcome back to Behind the Headlines. And on this segment, we're lucky enough to be joined by my good friend and one of the state's most knowledgeable individuals, of course, on higher education, and that is Ken Mash. Ken, of course, is the president of APSCUFF, which is
the Association of Pennsylvania State College and University Faculty.
Absolutely, and has done a fabulous job over a long period of time. You've done such a great job that they called you back.
Yeah,
they couldn't let you go.
Well, thanks, Charlie. It's great to be here.
No, it's nice to have you here, and you've brought along a guest. Could you introduce us?
Sure.
To your guest?
This is Ethan Rapp. He is a senior at Edinburgh in education. And anything you want to add?
Thanks for having me. Nice to be here.
Well, it's nice to have you as well. We want to thank you for coming along today. Today we thought we'd talk about some of the new conceptions, perhaps, of higher education that many people aren't familiar with in our audience or across the state, I think. And there is a movement afoot that people are talking about 90 credit bachelor degrees instead of 120 credits. Could you tell us what's behind this? What's fueling it? What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages?
Yeah, I think the motivations of people who are behind, essentially reducing college from 4 years to 3 years are, they have good intentions. And the good intention is, of course, to make college cheaper and more accessible to people because it is more, because it costs less, obviously, to go for 3 years than it does for 4 years. But ultimately, I think that this is a really short-sighted and one of the worst ideas that has been raised in recent years. So I could tell you why, if you like.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So I think just from the very start, I just saw a presentation by someone who in front of the Board of Governors, and she spent a long time talking about higher ed, and she was actually sort of saying, "Oh, okay, well, maybe we need to do this 3-year degree program and jump on that quickly." And then, just a few moments later, she was talking about AI, right? And when it comes to AI, even the leaders of the industry in AI are now saying the people who are going to be the most secure are going to be the people with the best liberal arts background. And essentially, if you move from 4-year degrees to 3-year degrees, if you ask what's going to be cut, it's going to be the liberal arts background. So right away, we are taking away the advantage that people have in the new workforce. So that's a big reason by itself. I also think that it is ultimately discriminatory. And I'm saying that because when we hear about people raising this idea of having 90 credit degrees, they're saying it at our 4-year public universities, and other schools that are geared towards the middle class and the working class. And there's nobody raising that at the elite schools saying, "Hey, let's bring this down from 4 years to 3 years." And the reason why, I think, is because there's an understanding that it is those extra credits are not a waste of time. They're about giving you alternative ways to think so that you can do problem solving. And in a world where we have people having to have many different careers in their lifetime, it makes you more of a utility player. You can go and do different things because you have the capacity to think in various different ways. So I think ultimately it's harmful. I think it's ultimately discriminatory. I think it's going to I'm concerned too that while it seems like a good idea, right, and it's seems like a very simple solution to a complex problem. Usually simple solutions to complex problems are problematic. And one of the reasons why it's problematic is, what do we do with students when the industry catches up? right? And businesses start saying, hey, we don't, it's not that we want a college degree, we want a 120 credit college degree. All these students who have the 90 credit college degree, they're going to be in trouble, right? They're going to, what are they supposed to do then? They can't go back and finish, they already finished their degree, right? They said it was a 3-year degree. So we might be very well hanging a whole bunch of students out there to dry.
As a former professor myself, one thing that I've always stood by is the fact that many of our students didn't have the type of background in secondary school that they should have. And by being in college for 4 years, it allows them to make up for that.
Right.
And the other thing is many people don't know what they want to do as a career. And by staying in school for 120 credits, you are exposed to more areas. And it allows you to, do I want to be a city planner? Might I want to be a criminologist or something of that sort? Ethan, I have to ask you, from the student perspective, what's the student perspective on this? Are students even aware of this discussion that's going on?
No, I don't think anyone is. When I was told about this, I had no idea myself. And I started looking at it, and it's down this rabbit hole. I don't know how many universities have already switched to it, and legislation that's being passed. It's a lot more than you would think.
Mm-hmm.
But then you start looking at this from a student perspective. Like as an education major, you already lose your last year to student teaching, preparing to student teach. So if you switch to 120 credits, what are you thinking? You only have 2 years to learn your curriculum itself, and you're already kind of squishing your time.
You mean if you switch to 90 credit? Yeah. So you're not necessarily in favor of it.
No, I'm not one to jump the gun.
Okay.
I think, there's nothing, I say this as a professor, there's nothing sacrosanct about 120 credits, right? We should always be open to ideas about why to do it, but we should be asking, what's the reason you want to do this? Why is it you want to go down to 90 credits? And if it's justifiable and we just want to get to a point where students are earning credits to get into certain careers, that's fine. But let's not call it a baccalaureate. Let's come up with another name for it so that we can keep our understanding of what a baccalaureate degree is, what this is. We give options to students that, hey, you can get this degree, but if it doesn't work out for you, you can come back and get your baccalaureate pretty easily because you'll just need 30 credits. I don't know why we have to kind of be selling something that isn't, right? You're not getting a baccalaureate. You're getting something less than a baccalaureate. And I think you're essentially killing yourself because you're not offering the same product anymore that you once were.
Ken, is this the opinion you just expressed? Is that pretty much the opinion of most coaches and other university faculty or not? How much diversity of opinion is there on this issue within your organization?
Well, I think that if you approach individual faculty, you always find faculty who would be like, oh, I think we could pull this off and do it. But I think anytime I've raised it as a concern, either at one of our universities or at our legislative assembly or going even nationally and talking about it with other faculty, uniformly faculty are appalled by this, with the very few exceptions that I mentioned. They just think this is just really cheapening what it is that we do and not respecting college, really. And it's just another way to attack college.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't this have something more, isn't this more appropriate for discussion in community colleges, for example?
Well, I think, again, community colleges offer associate's degrees,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, if we want to talk about something that's in between, then let's have that conversation about something that's in between, and maybe that's something that community colleges can do, maybe it's something that that our universities can do or work together to do, but let's just not pretend, let's not serve people, a chopsteak and tell them it's a filet.
Mm-hmm. One of the best things that I personally did at my undergraduate school, and then I was a champion of it when I taught, was the use of internships. There were no internships when I went to school. Essentially, I made my own path, if you will, and then it became pretty common after that time for lots of other students to do that. What about your internship? How is your internship blending in with your academic program, and how would you see it fitting in a 90 credit system?
Well, my internship is helping me specifically. I'm going into to become a social studies teacher, so learn more the backgrounds, obviously the union side as well. I feel like that also would have to be a university discussion as well, because not all baccalaureate degrees require a internship. Like the education side of my degree does not require it. So I feel like that'd have to be a discussion to have. Like it's better to slow things down rather than jump the gun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. You want to be a social studies teacher, and both Ken and I had taught in the social studies area, social sciences area. I just heard someone on my way to the studio today. They were interviewing a young college student, and they asked the college student, "Who did we get our independence from?" And the student said, "Europe." So this is, I think, a problem that we have, and why, Ken, I think why maybe we need the 120 credits.
We've done a lot of things in education. Again, talk about simple solutions to complex problems. One of those things that we did was like the testing, when we know that the testing, doing testing just on math and reading, it ultimately had the effect of downgrading things like social studies and things like that. So we're not getting the background that we need there. And if you say, okay, now we're going to cut it out in college too, that means there's no room to actually ever learn it.
Mm-hmm. What do you hope to get out of your internship finally, Ethan, in the last 20 seconds?
A lot of memorable friends.
Okay, but you can already see how it fits into.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot already. There's a lot of intricates in the organization itself and in the government that I'm learning a lot about.
Okay. Well, and Ken, what do you think that's going to happen in Pennsylvania? Is the governor for this?
For doing this, he hasn't said anything about it. We're glad about that. We know there's a bill in the Senate. I don't think it's moving this year, but we're keeping our eyes on it and trying to make sure it doesn't happen anytime soon.
Well, Ken, thank you very much for bringing us up to date on this. Ethan, good luck to you and your program, and thanks for being with us today. And all of you, thank you for being with us on Behind the Headlines. We'll see you next time.